Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Harold, and some of you may know me as Seattle M's Nation, and on this channel I'm going to be posting a lot about the Mariners and just maybe prospects that I believe are on the rise within the minor league farm. I had a few of you guys send in questions over on Instagram for a Q&A today, so I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my ability. So let's get it started. The first question comes in from Klein, and Klein asks, how does Seiya Suzuki project? Seiya Suzuki is coming to the US at age 27. That was the same age that Ichiro actually came over to the US and signed with the Mariners. So that's an interesting comparison right there. The second comparison is in Shohei Ohtani's final year in Japan. He had a slugging of, it looks like slugging of 540. Seiya Suzuki, however, had a slugging of 636. And that was between 134 games for Seiya and 104 games for Shohei Ohtani. Seiya also led the MPB with a WAR of 8.4. So he projects as a high caliber player, and the locals in Japan call him the Mike Trout of Japan. And he's also compared to Matsui. So he has a high ceiling, and I think he has the potential to be a generational player in our league, which is why if I'm the Mariners or if I'm any team in baseball, I wouldn't want to miss out on him. I think he has a very, very high ceiling. The next question comes in from Blaze. Blaze asks, who will be the breakout star for the Mariners in 2022? Maybe aside from Julio and Jarred Kelenic. My obvious choice would be Julio Rodriguez, but since we're taking that off the table, I'm going to say closer Andres Munoz. Before the lockout happened, the Mariners extended Andres Munoz, so clearly they share that same belief that he will be a top closer in baseball, and I think he will be. I believe he'll be a top 10 to top 15 closer in baseball, and I think he may struggle with command early in the season, but he'll finish the season strong and show exactly why the Mariners put their trust in him. My next question comes in from Gavin, who asks, what's your prediction for how long the lockout will last? Well, at the time of filming, we're currently almost 2 weeks into the lockout. What that means, I don't know. It's really been static from both the Players Association and the league office as well as the owners. So I don't know what will happen. I would guess we would probably hear something after the Christmas holiday and probably after New Year's. You would assume that players and the managers and owners and all that would probably spend that with their families. So I would say we would probably hear an update around January, the end of January, heading into February, especially as players begin to report. The good thing is the minor league season will still happen. They're under a different collective bargaining agreement. So in the case where the Mariners season doesn't happen, Everett, Tacoma, Modesto, and Arkansas will all begin on time. That brings up an interesting point, actually. So players like Julio Rodriguez and Alberto Rodriguez, who were protected from the Rule 5 draft, actually will not be eligible to report for minor league spring training or any spring training until the Major League CBA is agreed upon. So what that means is if the CBA is not agreed on heading into the new season, Julio Rodriguez and Alberto Rodriguez would not be able to report to a minor league affiliate, meaning that they lose playing time. So that's an interesting thing to follow as the storyline develops. But yeah, as of now, there's really no end in sight. Next question comes in from Angel, who asks, who are some dark horse pitchers you could see Dipoto trading for? Let me start off with some free agent starters I could see Dipoto going after. When I look at pitchers, I value fielding independent percentage. So I use Fangraphs to kind of see who the top pitchers are per se. And you kind of go down the list. You have Corbin Burns, Zach Wheeler, Max Scherzer, the usuals. And once you go down a little bit, a name that really intrigues me, who's currently a free agent, is Carlos Rodon. He was top 20, ranking 13th in fielding independent percentage in 2021. And while he has some injury concerns, I do think that he'd fit this rotation. And going down a bit, 17th is Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is a pitcher who's being shopped right now by the Reds, and he had a 3.20 FIP in 2021, as well as a 1.15 WHIP, and he held opponents to a 216 batting average with a K percentage of 28.6 and a 10.61 K per 9. I do think that he'd fit our team very well, and he probably wouldn't take much in terms of prospect capital compared to somebody like Luis Castillo. And personally, I don't really like Luis Castillo just because he has inconsistency issues, and I don't really know if I could justify trading a top 100 prospect for him, which we'd probably have to part with somebody like Emerson Hancock, George Kirby, somebody like that. Whereas Sonny Gray would only take a lower prospect in our farm system, which still hurts because our farm system is very, very deep. But then again, we do have enough depth in that position. The next question comes in from Wyatt, and Wyatt asks, hypothetically we sign Trevor Story and Abraham Toro can play all over. What do we do with Dylan Moore? Well, for starters, in 2021, Dylan Moore didn't really have that great of a season. He had an amazing 2020 season where his numbers were just completely off the charts. He had a 139 WRC+. His batting average was an all-time high for him in his career at 255, and he slugged 496, which is really impressive. But in 2021, his numbers really fell off. His WRC+ was only 74, his slugging was 334, which is understandable. In a 60-game season or whatever it was, you just kind of expect it. In a bigger sample size, the numbers definitely wouldn't stay the same. However, he did have 21 stolen bases in 2021, which was the most in his career in a single season. So I do think he has the potential to be a bench bat, and we saw that a lot in 2021, where he came in as a pinch hitter in big moments, and he just lit it up. Whether it was the home run against the Astros that just really kickstarted the comeback, or any other of his big moments. What I think we should do with him, though, is he has 3 minor league options. So if the Mariners are completely stacked, like you said, signing Trevor Story, it makes a lot of sense just to send him to Tacoma, let him build up some confidence, and bring him up when we need him. The next question comes in from Aries, who asks, if we get Seiya Suzuki, how does the crowded outfield sort out? Who stays, who goes? Well, I think it's pretty easy to write in Jared Kelenic for the opening day left field job. With the lockout and all that's happening, I also think it's pretty easy to write Julio Rodriguez in for the starting center field job, especially with all the training and all the workouts he's putting in off to the side. I think he's going to be pretty hard to not write in for center field. For right field, you would definitely put Seiya Suzuki there. And for designated hitter, you got to put Mitch Haniger there. He doesn't bring as much defensive value as the other 3, but his bat is too good to let go. Now, for the 4th outfield position, or the bench bat, you have Kyle Lewis, which is an option. You have Abraham Toro, who's going to be switching time between every position. Then there's the option for playing Chris Bryant there if we sign him, so Chris Bryant could play third base and he could play outfield. And then finally there's Adam Frazier. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to definitely write Jake Fraley out, whether that's being in AAA or just trading him, which I think is probably the most likely possibility. And I think Taylor Trammell as well. I really like Trammell, I really like Fraley, but they aren't going to get much playing time with us, and if you put them in Tacoma, they're only going to get older, and I think it's beneficial for their career and beneficial for us if we were to trade them, give them an opportunity elsewhere, whether it's somewhere like Pittsburgh, Arizona, the Cubs. They just deserve a chance to play elsewhere, and I do think Trammell has a lot of potential, but unfortunately, looking at our outfield situation right now, he really won't get anywhere in Seattle. So I really hope that we give them a chance somewhere else, and I hope they succeed elsewhere. The next question comes in from Chloe, who asks, can you explain the lockout like you're talking to an elementary schooler? So right now, we have 2 different sides. We have the MLB Players Association, represented by players like Max Scherzer, Andrew Miller, and on the other side, we have the MLB owners. So that's Rob Manfred, the Mariners owner, and all those other guys over there. So what they're disagreeing on are a few different things. Andrew Miller and Max Scherzer's side wants to end tanking. So they want to create an incentive to win and basically force teams to spend a certain amount of money, which I believe is $114 million. And you can spend more than that, but the minimum that you have to spend is $114 million. So teams like the Baltimore Orioles, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Chicago Cubs, they have to spend money. They're basically trying to prevent the next Houston Astros. What the Astros did was constantly lose and tank to build up a farm system, and we saw how it paid off. Another thing that they're trying to agree on is the MLB Players Association is very, very adamant about ending contract manipulation. When the story about Jared Kelenic came out from the whole Kevin Mather incident, the MLB Players Association was very, very quick to jump on it and put out a statement. They want to end that type of thing. So hypothetically, if they come to an agreement on the CBA, we could see Julio up in the MLB right away because there is no incentive to keeping him down in the minors. So that's the two big things that you want right now. And the third thing is they're just kind of trying to agree on things like the postseason, how many teams can make it in. So we're likely going to see an expanded postseason. They're also looking to remove the extra innings rule, and they're also looking to make a few changes like a pitch clock, which we're already seeing in the minor leagues. And from what I've heard from minor leaguers, they really like it. So there's a lot of other small things, but those are the biggest things out there. And I think the biggest holdups will be those two things, the contract manipulation and the minimum salary cap. Next question comes in from William, who asks, when do you see a World Series title come into Seattle? Realistically, I think it's safe to say that we break the drought in 2022. 2023, we'll see Noelvi Marte, Emerson Hancock, George Kirby, all types of names like that. I think we will make it to the World Series or at least fall short in the NLDS. I think 2025 is the most realistic time we will see a World Series title. You look at how competitive the AL West is. The Rangers going out and signing multiple guys to 8+ year deals. The Los Angeles Angels having Mike Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, and then having the promise of Adele and all these other guys. Then you have the Astros. You really can't write them off. Sure, they're losing Correa, but then you have Pena, and then you got all these other names. You got Forrest Whitley for them. Sure, he's dealt with injuries, but he still has extreme potential. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath in 2022. It's going to be a bloodbath in 2023. It's really going to make us earn that first division title since 2001. It's going to make us earn it. So, realistically, I do think 2025. Next question is from Carter, and Carter asks, has the offseason gone like you expected? Yes and no. So we started the offseason off by trading for Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier was a guy that we all saw his name floating around during the trade deadline in 2021. We all wanted him. But unfortunately, he went to the Padres. What I really liked about that deal is we spent less in prospect capital than we would have spent if we would have traded for him from Pittsburgh. So that was a really smart move, in my opinion, by Jerry Dipoto. And it sucked losing guys like Corey Rozier. It sucked losing Ray Kerr. But then again, we're in a win-now position. We have the bullpen depth. We have the outfield depth. We needed that second baseman, and we got that second baseman. We also got Robbie Ray. Anytime you get your division's Cy Young, it's a win. I liked Robbie Ray a lot, and I also think that he has the potential to stay consistent after. What I really liked hearing in his press conference was he talked about how the pitching coach up in Toronto helped him find a repeatable pitch motion. Something that he doesn't have to really change every time. It's something that's repetitive. What I feared it was something that they were trying to get him to consistently tweak. like a grip or something like that. But the way that he made it sound like it was something that he could continue doing on and on and on. And before going to Toronto, he was already a successful strikeout pitcher. So I think that he's a very, very good sign for us. And finally, we have the extension of Andres Munoz. It's a low-risk deal. The money in it, it's not a crazy amount. He's really going to have to earn it. And by the time that deal is over, if he pans out to be what we expect Andres Munoz to be, he's in line for a huge payday. In terms of what I didn't like or what I didn't expect in this offseason, I'm really disappointed about the lockout. It might eat into spring training. It might eat into the season. We don't know. There's really been no updates, as I mentioned a few questions ago. And it's just disappointing to see how greedy owners are and how unwilling they are to just accept change and make the game something that the fans want to see. I'd love for an agreement to happen soon, but realistically, I don't think it happens until the end of January. So until that happens, all of our lives are practically on hold. As Mariner fans, as baseball fans, we just really don't know when baseball will be back and when we can really enjoy it again. Final question for today's Q&A is from Jacob. And Jacob asks, what is your advice for people wanting to get into digital media, design, or start their own Mariner page? Well, my first piece of advice would be, don't worry about likes. When I first started my page, I got 1 like a post, occasionally 3, occasionally 4. What kept me going was just my love for the team and my love for what I was doing. I would download apps and I would kind of try it out to see what made the best formats. Originally, they were really, really bad. But the people that stuck around and really just kept, really just kept motivating me, giving me support, that's what helped me drive towards where I'm at now. And when I really started my page, I would take classes that are like designed for that. So when I was in school, I took photography. Photography allowed me to get into Photoshop and really grow my brand and grow my page from the graphic side of things. And whenever I create my graphics, I look for motivation from other pages. So you look at the MLB, you look at the NHL, you look at the NFL, and you try to find things that you like about their design. You try to stay up to date with the trends. You try to create it to be your own. I try to always make sure that everything I create is 100% my own, and I try to make it unique and interesting to me. And it's always something that I'm proud of. If you're creating something that you're proud of, nobody else can really tell you otherwise. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, there's no issue with it. As for the Instagram side of it, back to that, you're gonna meet a lot of cool people doing it. Whether it's people who follow you, whether it's players, people will know who you are. What you post is seen. That's one of the coolest things about it. You could post something about somebody like Noel V. Marte. Next thing you know, you have Noel V. Marte on your page, liking your post, responding to it, doing something like that. Social media is powerful. And by using it, just using it to do something that you're passionate about and you like, the players see that. The players respect that. The players appreciate that. So that's why I always try to keep my page positive. I always try to keep my page real. And I always try interacting with the players. They respect that and they appreciate that. And that's something I always suggest to my fellow pages right there for the Mariner community. And my final piece of advice is just really don't worry about how it looks to begin with. It's not going to be great. Occasionally, you'll have a post that you think doesn't look great, but it'll blow up. It's really weird how social media works. Something that you can spend hours working on, whether it's a format, whether it's a video edit, it could get little likes. It could get 50 likes. But when you post literally a generic video, like a highlight, it can get 300, 400, 500 likes. It really doesn't matter what amount of likes you get. If you're enjoying what you're doing, just keep being consistent with it. People appreciate that consistency. So yeah, just go out there, be original, be unique, and just enjoy it. You only get a short period of time to really do that when you have time, and you start to appreciate that short period of time. Thank you guys for all the questions you sent in. I apologize if I didn't get to all of them. Definitely expect a lot more content over on the YouTube side. I have a lot more planned over here. If you guys like this, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment if you have any suggestions. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, go follow me at Seattle Nation. As the lockout continues, I'll definitely have a lot more content on the Instagram side of things and the YouTube side of things, and I'll also be dropping a few podcasts on Hit It Here Talk. So yeah, I appreciate all your guys' constant support, and I can't wait to post a lot more. Thank you guys.